Charlie, and I'm Liz, and that's Jim the Poodle. I thought Sustainable House Day was a good idea because we put all this effort, 3 years of effort into getting where we are today, and we want to spread the joy. We want to spread the word that it's possible to do a sustainable house, and ordinary people like us muggles are doing it.
We're very fortunate to have a house like this with these features, and it's great to be able to share it.
We bought the house from Barbara, and you can see in the photo over here that it's a really lovely, charming cottage. And we lived in the house for 2 years while we figured out what we were doing. And we enjoyed living in the house, and it was cold. So one of the things we wanted to do was preserve the personality of the house. And this is what we bought. Little cottage with the weatherboard look to it, and this is what we've got from the street, a little cottage with the weatherboard look to it. We've kept some of the original things, like that's the original front door. The whole back half of the house came off, and at one stage we just had half a house. Everything from the wall behind forward is new, and it's highly insulated. There's a slab, it's north facing, it's got all those passive solar design features that make a house really comfortable to live in. And it's really great when you wake up in the morning and it's 19 or 20 degrees inside and it's -4 outside.
This was my old government house. I lived here from early mid-70s through till 2014.
I think I've been interested in Sustainable House Day for a long time. A combination of seeing people's new ideas, but also particularly at the moment because we're getting around to build a new house ourselves. Well, some of it is in the design of our new house. We've moved on to looking at interiors, and I was a bit concerned that decisions we were making were for products that weren't all that sustainable, such as engineered quartz that gets imported from Italy. And so I was pleased to see a timber bench and wanted to know whether it was that I suspected, which proved to be the case, is Australian timbers, and I wanted to check that it was easy to maintain. And I thought it looked very good, and I think we'll try and switch to a timber bench top in our kitchen rather than engineered quartz.
Well, they use a lot of recycling materials, which is great. Solar aspect is really good. The water feature is unusual. I guess that would add to the cooling in the summer. Very impressive. Obviously, not a high-cost house, which is terrific.
Now, we're currently building a house in Downer, so we've sort of already researched a fair bit of this, but just wanted to sort of see some stuff in action and get an idea of what our house is likely to look like. One thing we put a lot of thought into and decided on was the slab in part of the house where we'll get a lot of sun, so it's good to see that's this one here and just get a feel for what it's like.
Yeah, that was a big deciding factor about the slab. We weren't sure with our flooring types, but very happy that we've chosen to go that way.
And how are you finding the battery setup?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Right.
Because we are now over 90% of the electricity we use is what we produce.
Okay.
And on top of that, we are now exporting 15 kilowatt hours a day to the grid.
Substantial.
They have like a middleman between the big power company and the distributed individual homes.
Right.
So when there's a great need for electricity,
they draw on your power.
They draw on our power. So Reposit, when there is a need for electricity, draw on what we've stored.
So they're effectively, instead of it just going back to the grid, they're effectively saying we're going to meter some of this, take it and resell it somewhere.
Yes.
And as a result of that, they can give you 15 cents as opposed to 7.
Or more than 15 cents.
Really?
Yeah.
Depends on time, so it's a time-based system.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I got back to Canberra only like a month ago. I've been away for 7 years, and I've got a house, an old ex-Govey house that I'm thinking of kind of extending or potentially knocking down and rebuilding. I'm just going around the houses today to get some ideas. I really like the extension here on the old part of the house. This is a ex-Govey as well. So I really like what they've done, and it's a north orientation, which is the same as my place. And yeah, I just really like the feel of the place, how the house kind of incorporates into the garden. And yeah, I'm just going to check out the grey water system as well and figure out what that's all about. So yeah.
I'm really interested in the idea of having a comfortable house that uses minimum electricity and power. Well, I like the idea of taking a house and not knocking it down and rebuilding it, but trying to improve an original house, improve the sustainability and the comfort of an original house, because I think that's really important to be able to do, because there are so many original houses already in Canberra that if we're going to lessen our burden on electricity, we need to tackle those. It's the sort of like the north-facing windows with the thermal mass, the concrete floor being added to the old house that I thought was quite good. But and that transfers through the rest of the house, which is lovely. And I really like that they've kept all the old doors and the original feeling of the house. And some really nice features here.
Yes.
It's an amazingly small battery.
It is, yes.
Does it, and it services the whole house?
It does, yes. And it covers the amount of electricity we use in a day. And that display is live at the moment. It's showing us that we're exporting 3-4 kilowatts
into the
grid at the moment.
Yeah, right. What's a battery roughly like that worth to buy?
I think it was 5,000. We're with a scheme called Reposit as well.
Oh, you really?
So that when the demand is greatest on a hot summer afternoon, when everyone's turning on their air conditioning, we can supply energy to the grid from the battery to meet that heightened demand, and they pay back. Yes, that's right. Well, that's where Reposit is situating themselves. They're sort of halfway between the electricity producers and power stations and the man in the street with the battery. But they're also analysing the data that they're collecting to help predict usage. So we're currently feeding in 4 kilowatts to the grid. The battery is charged up to 99%. And we're just using a fraction inside the house. We also are able to follow what's been happening during the day.
Oh, cool.
This was me putting on the kettle at 5 o'clock. And then the blue here is the hot water system being turned on and heating up the water.
Oh, great. And what's the green?
And the green is what's been produced by the panels.
Oh, awesome.
It is amazing, yes.
And I have an interest in the future of building a smaller type house on a block, and Sigmund actually does construction, and he wants to get out of the commercial industry, and he's doing home design stuff now, study. So there's more interest for his study and both our personal interest. I really like how they've actually not knocked the whole old house down. Everyone thinks you need to knock everything down. They've used the original old place and redesigned it. I love the openness of the kitchen area down, that little step down into the library and seating area, and the stove, how it's used for heating in winter. They like that wood stove, which does winter cooking and heating, and the small one on the side does for the summer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Free my ladies in the counter now. I'm already out, already on the countdown. I'ma set it right. Got the backlash written on me.